What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, and this is part 34 of my ranking and reviewing Frank Zappa's guitar solos within the context of the album. Last one I did was Little Dots, a Petit Wazoo document. This is Imaginary Diseases, the first of the released Petit Wazoo documents. 5 solos on here, contained in 4 songs. One of them is 2. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to rank them from my personal favorite, 5 to 1, and then I'll show you on the screen what they look like in words, in typewritten form. Then I will show you how this album ranks among the other 33 I've done so far. Yeah. So anyways, Petit Wazoo, this was like the big band, the smaller than the Grand Wazoo tour that he did in late 72. So yeah, let's get on with it. Number 5 is DC Boogie number 2. There was at the DC show, there was a long instrumental jam. I think it was all improvised. That starts off with this really, really, really nice kind of Middle Eastern, really low key, really simmering, awesome little vamp that on the album we enter into right when Frank's solo is about to begin. This is not that one. This is the second of those. We don't get the solos that precede that, as there are. And then there's even a fade out at the very end of this track during the middle of Frank's second solo. But in the middle of this jam, it's called DC Boogie because Frank's like, let's make this a democratic process. How many people want this song to end with a boogie, a ballad, a dog food commercial? They vote, they cheer for a bunch of stuff. It ends up being a boogie. This is the aggressive boogie portion of the jam. Frank's going hard at it, comes swinging in hard. The interplay between the overlap between Tony Duran's boogie solo and then Frank kind of starts the solo, and the two of them are going at it, and the band's going at it, and then Frank kind of emerges in his solo. The Duran into the overlap is fantastic. Frank rides that energy very aggressively. Like, there is nothing wrong with this solo at all. It's just kind of a great aggressive attack. It's got boogie flavor in it. Frank's bringing the energy. It just falls to number 5 because the other stuff on here is absolutely so fantastic. But it's a really, really good solo. And it would be interesting, like, I don't know, we already have this, but it would be interesting to hear the complete thing because I know there are solos that precede this. This is, I think, one of the tapes. This is one of the tapes that was in circulation or is in circulation. But yeah, interesting, good, entertaining. It's just number 5 because the other 4 are also really good. Number 4, Bend to Kansas City in A minor. Another one of those instances where Frank's like, let's play the blues in A minor, and everybody jams for a little while. Frank comes in kind of slow, bluesy, takes his time, then all of a sudden he's just like, ugh, let's get aggressive. Let's get mean. It's kind of dramatic for a while before we get aggressive and mean. Somewhat of a short solo, but it's a very satisfying short solo. Like, in a very short period of time in Frank terms, we get a nice kind of playful, spaced out intro, get a little bit of drama, then he digs in and things get aggressive. So much shorter, maybe not much shorter, but maybe a minute or so shorter than the one that I just talked about, the DC Boogie number 2. But I think it's a little more satisfying. I think Frank covers a little more territory in a little more satisfying ways in a shorter span of time. That's number 4, Bend to Kansas City in A minor. Number 3 is DC Boogie number 1. Love this vamp. Absolutely fantastic, low key, chill. It's like this almost Middle Eastern, just very barely simmering, like threatening to boil, but it never does. And Frank's just kind of like sailing not too far over it. And if I was ranking just the overall vibe and the experience, I would drop this at number 1. But in paying attention just to Frank's solo and what he's doing with the guitar, I do think he is not being as aggressive or inventive or a kind of playful as fun as he is on the one that are the top 2 on this list. As an overall experience, I think I would put this at number 1. But when it comes to specifically Frank's playing and sort of the satisfaction I get when I'm trying to like ignore what else is going on and just hone in on the guitar playing, I drop it in number 3, though it's close. Like these are all really good solos, so it's like there's not a lot of like differentiation, but it's very snaky, very kind of like almost reminds me of like Burnt Weenie Sandwich, like that kind of. But he's like what 4 years down the line, 4 years down the line by now, 3 years. Not sure exactly when that was recorded, 69, right? Maybe. But he's years later, so his skill set's better. He's a little more interesting in what he's playing, so it's a little more interesting than that. But it does kind of remind me of that sort of like dude dancing, slinking around like the vamp and the rhythm section and all that stuff. Has that kind of like BWS Burnt Weenie Sandwich. The theme from Burnt Weenie Sandwich, that guitar solo. Has that kind of vibe. Excellent, excellent. But again, if I had to separate sort of the solo from the awesomeness of the groove, it drops down to number 3. But it's a fantastic experience. Fantastic experience. And I actually think like hey, let's make this a democratic process, tacking on the boogie at the end, ruins it. And I wish he had gone somewhere else with it. But, you know, we'll take what we get. Still a great experience. Number 2 is Montreal. I think the sound quality maybe dips a little. This is the last track on the CD. This one, I cannot listen to this without thinking of CCR's cover of I Heard It Through the Grapevine. There is a particular moment in the 11-minute version, about 6 or 7 minutes in, maybe 8 minutes in on that, when Fogerty's soloing, and then it almost sounds like he's going to stop soloing, and he starts playing this dun these chords like dun 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 to this thing, and then he goes back into soloing. This entire solo reminds me of that section. And the first couple years, like when I bought this and was listening to it, it drove me nuts because I could not place what this sounded like. And then eventually I was just convincing myself that, wait a minute, I'm just thinking of this and it doesn't really sound like anything else. Frank has just created this thing. Then it dawned on me that it was I Heard It Through the Grapevine. Kid you not, man. Listen to Montreal, then go listen to I Heard It Through the Grapevine and drop it in, like I think it's like the 7-minute mark. It's the exact same groove. Like it's almost the thing. It's like the same energy. And that's great energy. It's fantastic. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Frank had heard their cover and was like, hey, I want to jam in that style, because I think that came out right. They had released that a couple years earlier than that, right? Yeah, 2 years earlier than that. So yeah. It reminds me of I Heard It Through the Grapevine, and that's why I absolutely love it. Sound quality is a little bit dipping down a little bit. We jump in the middle of whatever this jam is, whatever improvised jam is. We just start off right in the middle of it. But I just love the vibe, love the energy of this. It's just like a personal favorite just because I love that CCR, I Heard It Through the Grapevine so much. And then number 1 is the title track, Imaginary Diseases. This is essentially just like, you get this really cool, awesome main theme head for about 2 minutes. Then we get a whole bunch of Frank for like 5-6 minutes of soloing. And then we close off with that theme again. And it's just one of those pedal to the metal, straight ahead solos where it's just like I don't know, Frank's going. And then he gets weird a little bit and plays some weird chords and things get weird. And then he goes. And then he gets like all Frippish and King Crimson-ish. And we're like, boo-doo weird. And then we go. And then we get another little burst of intensity. And it's just Frank right in this groove, in the pocket, having a great time. It kind of reminds me of like the scene in, if you've seen The Fifth Element, the movie The Fifth Element, and Corbin is driving his taxi through everything and trying to escape, and it's just chaos all around him, right? There's like cars above him and below him and beside him, and things are going all kinds of way. And that's what Frank's guitar playing reminds me of this, is he's trying to navigate this. And for the most part, he's just got like his sights on, I need to go to this direction because that's where safety is. But then every once in a while, it's like, oh no, now I got to do this weird thing. Now I got to do this weird thing. And it's just, every time I listen to this, there's some weird little new thing that I catch that maybe I didn't hear before, or I just appreciate in a different way. And it's just, I don't know, it's a thrilling, like 9-minute ride, the totality of this song. I don't think there's really much difference between like Imaginary Diseases and Montreal and DC Boogie's the first one. Those kind of are all about the same quality. I think it's just kind of what's going on around Frank that maybe changes or elevates it. Though I do think DC Boogie maybe number one maybe is he's not quite throwing in as many diversions as he does in Imaginary Diseases. But yeah, just absolutely love all these solos, but Imaginary Diseases has become my favorite over the years. That's what they look like in writing. I did add an S. DC Boogie's number one. Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't want to go back and change it. I'm too lazy. I made that mistake, and I didn't want to have to change it. But yeah, there's Boogies. And it's the part of the DC Boogies number one is the one that's not really a boogie. It's this really cool, chill Middle Eastern band. Where does this fall among all the others that I've done so far? Right there. Number 10 for now. I'm assuming it's not going to stay at number 10 and will eventually fall out of the top 10. I do think, number 9. Sorry, number 9. No, number 10. I do think the solos on Little Dots are quite a bit better. Both the title track solos I think are a little bit better. I do like both the Columbus solos, the South Carolina solos are better. I do think his playing is just a little more interesting, a little more diverse. I think he's got some more interesting ideas. So that's why this one falls a little bit farther down. But they're both fantastic releases as far as his solos go. Tony Duran's awesome solos, the improvisational, the arrangements, the track list. Those are both absolutely fantastic releases. And if you don't have them, you're missing out on a really, really important aspect of Frank's live touring career. But anyways, yeah, it's a number 10. It's a number 10. And I'm happy with that. But anyways, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Let me know your ranking of these solos. Let me know if you go listen to them, your thoughts on these solos. Let me know if you go check out that CCR Heard It Through the Grapevine, and if you hear what I hear in that, because I know I'm not making it up. There's similarities. I hear it. Yeah. All right. That's all I got. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and go listen to this album, people. It's fantastic. And start with Montreal and just that CCR John Fogerty riff. Love it. Yeah. Peace. Talk to you later.